night where we light up the spot. We're trading crypto, finance, you'll be mad on the charts. Hosted by the one, Lunar Beaches top shop. Dive deep into the numbers cause this ain't no luck. We're crunching all the data, making money moves fast. From Wall Street to the blockchain, making predictions last. Community together in this financial blast. Markets after dark, that shatter ceilings made of glass. Mad on the charts with Lunar's bright lights. Crypto markets soaring through the night. Follow the trends, see future in sight. It's markets after dark, live financial flight. From Bitcoin to Ethereum, we're mapping the road. Stock tips and insights, secrets ready to unload. Trading strategies, sharp on knowledge be showed. Let Lunar Beaches guide you to the mother lode. Economic loops and the way the dollar flows. Community vibes where everybody grows. Analyzing trends while the world lays low.
Welcome back to the Piper Academy Network. It is May 12th on Markets After Dark. We've got lots of green in the markets. We've got data coming in this week. We've got a potential trade deal. We've got all kinds of good stuff going on this week. What's up, Broham? What's up, Improper Fractal? But of course, before we get into it, it is Macro Monday, which means it is time for This Week Tonight. Let's go ahead and dive right on in. This Week Tonight, brought to you by the letter R for recession. The economy is still a hot mess. But welcome to This Week Tonight, the only financial segment where CPI, the Fed, and Bitcoin all get roasted like Thanksgiving turkey cooked in a margin account. First up, the US and China may be nearing the end of their epic 5-year-long economic slap fight. That's right. After talks in Geneva, both sides reported substantial progress, which in diplomatic terms means we promise not to break each other's stuff at recess, or we promise not to call each other fascist and communist. All right. Now, here's some excitement. They're talking about dropping tariffs from 145% to 80%. That's not a deal. That's like your landlord saying, "Hey, buddy, good news. I'm only stealing half your paycheck this month." You know what I mean? Just half your paycheck. That's all I need. That's what I'm talking about. Give me your money. Now, the Fed held rates steady because, God forbid, they do something interesting when we're alive. Instead, they looked at a sea of red flags and went, let's wait and see. You know, because as President Trump calls him, too late Powell or whatever, always late Powell, whatever he calls him. Who knows? But guys, the markets didn't know whether to rally or cry, so they did both and ended up sideways, like the economy's doing the electric slide on quicksand. That is, except for Bitcoin. And coming up this week on Guess That Inflation, Tuesday, CPI, Wednesday, PPI, Thursday, retail sales and jobless claims, Friday, pain. If CPI runs hot, your calls go cold. If it's cool, your hopium bag might get a second wind. Now, Bitcoin, on the other hand, is still hovering above $100,000. Just vibing, watching TradFi melt down like, dude, that's crazy. Anyway, I'm recalculating the halving cycle. ETH gas fees are low, meme coins are multiplying like horny rabbits, and someone just paid $9,000 to mint a JPEG of a duck in Balenciaga. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's funny. Right? So, to sum it up, the US and China, or maybe friends again, probably not, who knows, they're on, they're off, they're on, they're off. The Fed did nothing and we all clapped, I guess, with the markets, well, at least Bitcoin moving to the upside. CPI might print hot, so hedge your soul. And Bitcoin doesn't care about any of it. That's just the facts of the matter. Now, markets. But yeah, welcome to Markets After Dark, where we go mad on the charts. This was This Week Tonight. Stay macro aware, stay sarcastic, and for the love of Powell, check the data before you YOLO. Thank you all for joining me. That was This Week Tonight. Hope you all enjoyed that. Those things take a while to put together, just so you know. But it's all good and fun. I love doing that every week. Cluck, what's going on, Crypto Pollo? I miss you too, brother. It's been a long time. Let's bring up the Madhouse. Say good evening to everybody. Good evening, Improper Fractal. Good evening, All Set. Good evening, Harp. Good evening, Crypto Pollo. Cluck. And guys, don't forget, we have the Discord link pinned in the chat. Thanks to Alexandra G. She stopped by just to pin that into the chat for us. We do appreciate Alexandra G. as she spends time with her family. But she still took time out of her family time to go ahead and pin that Discord link in the chat. So join the Discord for Alexandra G. It's only $5 a month to become a member of the Discord. And you get all kinds of stuff in there. You've got the Army Piper's DCA plan. You got education, trade setups, Q&A sessions, and more. Just click join below this video, all right? All right, guys. So the week ahead, what do we have going on? Let's just go ahead and talk about this little bit right here. Let's go over to this. We've got U.S. announces China trade deal in Geneva. Is this hot smoke? Let's see. Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent said, I'm happy to report that we made substantial progress between the United States and China in the very important trade talks. First, I want to thank our Swiss host. The Swiss government has been very kind in providing us this wonderful venue, and I think that led to a great deal of productivity we've seen. We will be giving details tomorrow, of course, so announcement of an announcement, but I can tell you that the talks were productive. We had the vice premier, 2 vice ministers who were integrally involved, Ambassador Jameson and myself. And I spoke to President Trump, as did Ambassador Jameson last night, and he is fully informed of what is going on. So there will be a complete briefing tomorrow morning. U.S. Trade Representative Ambassador Jamieson Greer said, this was, as the Secretary pointed out, a very constructive 2 days. It's important to understand how quickly we were able to come to agreement, which reflects that perhaps the differences were not so large as maybe thought. That being said, there was a lot of groundwork that went into these 2 days. Just remember why we're here in the first place. The United States has a massive $1.2 trillion trade deficit. So the president declared a national emergency and imposed tariffs. And we're confident that the deal we struck with our Chinese partners will help us to work toward resolving that national emergency. Here's my problem, guys. Here's my problem. My problem is that any tariffs are bad tariffs. All tariffs are bad tariffs. I don't care what anybody says. Targeted, broad, whatever it is. Now, had Trump, so going to the UK deal, had Trump not kept the 10% tariff on all imports from the UK, then maybe I would have applauded him and said, "Great, this is we're going in the right step." But instead, he set the precedent that, hey, it doesn't matter what deal we make, we're still going to have these tariffs, which for me personally, if you're not using them as a negotiating tactic, and you still keep them on, then that's not free trade. And me, I am very pro free trade. Strip all the extra taxes, essentially, is what they are, is taxes on the consumer. Take that away, let markets open up more, get more free trade, because that benefits everybody around the world. And people will say, hey, but what about the tariffs that other countries put on us? Is that not unfair? And, that's a good question. But the thing is, you don't add on to bad trade policy. You just don't. You can maybe use it as a negotiating tactic to get down to zero, but to just still have them there after you make a trade deal, it still causes too much friction in the economy. It slows down the velocity of money, and it impacts growth. So, in a negative way, it stalls growth. So, no matter what, it could be just a sector-specific tariff, or it can be broad tariffs. And broad tariffs are even worse because they just stall growth. But who knows? The retail tends to like the trade deals, which retail is dumb money. So keep that in mind. So let's just be cautious, especially as we are approaching these highs. Now, this weekly candle that we just put in here on Bitcoin came just short from being the highest weekly candle close of all time. And that was actually the resistance. Actually, the high of the candle that was the highest candle close ever on the weekly. We actually used that as resistance currently. So could be seeing potentially a triple top, although I don't think that's the case, because just the way this formed in here, a triple top, you expect to not have such a deep correction before you come back up. It's typically just like a consolidation range, essentially, on a triple top. But this was more like a come down, scoop up liquidity to push higher type of deal, in my opinion. So, but we have plenty of work to do before we go full on bullish. But I am seeing some positive signs, things that I love to see, that I wanted to see. I talked about it during FOMO Friday, my last Markets After Dark, and we'll get into that as well. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and bring up the crypto bubbles, see how the crypto market is looking on the week. Yep, we're on the week. We're in the top 100. Biggest gainers, I guess Pi is up 116%. Can you even sell that on the secondary market? Let me know. Because I might need to move mine if I can, if that's even possible. I haven't even looked at it. I just keep mining Pi and see what happens. But we've got some positive signs showing up for really the whole market. I mean, the whole market, I love seeing all these 20% pluses. There's so many. Everything is just like 20% plus almost everything. But WIF up 92.3%, almost 100% for WIF on the week. We have Arbitrum up 45.5%. Floki, another meme coin, up 40.8%. Brett, another meme coin, up 52.4%. So the meme coins seeing some movement. Fart coin up 22.6%. Stacks, not a meme coin, 31.4%. GRT, the graph, up 31.1%. Another meme coin, Shiba Inu, up 26%. And some crowd favorites, Ondo up 21%. Let's see, ETH up 40%. PayPay up 72.7%. So just a bunch of green all across the board for the top 100. 100 to 200. Moodang up 616%. Peanut up 162%. Dang Moodang. My goodness. Let's see. Moodang also ripped. Oh, yep, there you go. Let's see. Biggest gainers were 100 to 200, probably because of Moodang. The next biggest was between 400 and 500. We've got TIT coin. I'm not even gonna. Hold on. Let me see. We got TIT coin up 283%. Sundog up 62.7%. Cat up 102%. So yeah, a bunch of useless. Of course, all the useless stuff is pumping. So that's how it goes. But I mean, even the bigger market caps seeing really good gains this past week, and it's what I really wanted to see out of the altcoins. I really want to see them gaining against Bitcoin. So going over to CoinGlass, our average RSI is sitting at 63.15%, which this says is neutral. Our altcoin season index is up to 27, which I believe the last time I looked at this, we were at 16. CoinGlass, let's go to exchanges, Bitcoin exchange balance. Scroll all the way down. All right, so we're still pushing to the downside on the exchange balance, and Bitcoin's continuing to push to the upside. So that's people buying and holding. I really want to see holders. Does this have that information on here? Long-term holders, Bitcoin long-term holders. Bitcoin long-term holders. Long-term supply. All right, so what is this showing here? Long-term holder supply increasing, not decreasing. It was decreasing as we pushed up towards 100K the first time, but now as we are pushing up for 100K the second time, our long-term holders are actually adding to their bags. So that is very, very interesting. So on-chain indicators, price forecast tools, the pool multiple. Pool multiple in a consolidation. If this thing gets to pumping to the upside, which it looks like it's trying to do right now, that could give us another push, the big push to the upside. So I think the fundamentals underneath, everything underneath the hood on chain is looking pretty good for Bitcoin and for expansion to the upside. Now, that doesn't mean we can't take a week or two to kind of cool off on Bitcoin, but the main thing for me is the altcoins. While Bitcoin is cooling off, I really hope, or what I like to see, and what we are currently seeing is the altcoins actually getting moving instead of correcting at the same time as Bitcoin. So let's take a look. Not at this. I want to say market maybe. Sector performance. Here we go. Sector performance on the week. Of course, the top one's probably memes. Yep. Meme sector up 44.1%. Gaming actually up 35% on the week. We've got layer 2s up 30% on the week. We've got AI up 30% on the week. We've got DeFi up 28.36% on the week. And layer 1s up 21.2% on the week. So everything is looking pretty good, pretty strong. The main thing is so your layer 1s are kind of, well, I mean, everything went up during the week, but you see the flat line. I mean, this is over the weekend, so of course you're going to get a little bit of a flat line. This is based on the week. Let's go to the monthly, see how everything's performing on the monthly. We've got gaming up 22% on the monthly, so it's actually gaining more recently. Layer 2s up 23.8%, layer 1s up 35%, DeFi up 37%, AI up 54%, and memes up 66.16%. So memes continue to outgain everything else, which is you would expect, but I just wonder how many of the memes. I don't think this includes all memes because it only includes Doge, Bonk, Popcat, PayPay, Whiff, and Shib. I think that might be all that it puts in here. So if that's the case, then it's not going to include the 90% plus other meme coins that are down, 99%. So just something to think about. Kato, geez, what is that? Moodang, open interest, normalized CVD. This makes me want to short Moodang to the ground because that open interest is high. Same for Kato, whatever that is. Let's see. We've got large caps. Bitcoin gaining 10.5% on the week. Ethereum 40% on the week. XRP 11%. BNB 11.3%. Doge 38.8%. ADA Cardano up 20.87%. Solana up 20%. Link up 22%. Sui up 21.76%, and then other ones that we've already gone over. I have pecking the AI coins. You've been pecking them. You've been pegging them. Wait, what? Total open interest. Yeah. So there's all of that. Did I close CoinGlass? I think I did. That's all right, because it'll take me straight to it. 24-hour heat map. We can see that we've got lots of liquidity sitting below us. Millions and millions of dollars, probably $1 billion worth below us. So pretty heated below us. We do have some liquidity sitting above us as well. Let's go to the 1 week. Lunar have been scalped AI coins. Bet. Frustrating, but I'll take what I can get. They move. Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, maybe we could see a move down to 101,297. Maybe even coming down here to 98. and clearing out some of this liquidity, but it's pretty heavy right here. It might be able to hold that $101,000. I'll be looking for it to initially come down, sweep all these lows in this range before continuing to the upside. Now, one thing that I have noticed is that this move to the upside, what's going on, RS Miller? Good evening. This move to the upside has been mostly spot driven, which is good, which is super healthy. It's not over leveraged perp positions. Now we are starting to see some of that leverage creep in. The question is, how much of that is short leverage? How much of that is long leverage? Yeah, so we're just kind of cruising sideways a little bit, but our open interest has popped up. Let's bring this down to the 12-hour. I want to take a look, see what our open interest. Yeah, we got a little bit of a bullish divergence here on our open interest. It's been kind of sporadic, but kind of moving overall to the downside as price has been moving to the upside. So that is short positions being closed, whether manually or through forced liquidation. So we do have that the spot volume picking up on the buys, and that's what got our last little push to the upside, was more spot volume than anything. A little help with some perp volume as well. So that's our open interest. That's our heat map. So that 101,300. Let's see if we can find that level here on the chart at all. Let's go ahead and bring up a fixed range volume profile of this range. That value area high. Let's go from low to high first. Let's start off small. There's 102, 101,700. There is a volume node or a volume crest, a wave crest right here at 101,300. So potentially could see us come down, tap into that. If we break that, then our next level would be 99,500. And then below that would be 97, and then hopefully if we break that below that value area low and close below it on the daily chart, then that point of control down here at 93.8 might be our next visit. Let's drop it down to, actually let's go back to the weekly chart. Let's take this off. And let's just mark off our all-time high. And let's mark off our local low. And let's pull a fib real quick. Let's just see where we are on our fib. So did not quite get up to the 886 on the spot chart. I wonder if it got up to it on the perp chart. Let's see. Nope, didn't get to it on the perp chart. Let's go back to the spot. We still have spot slightly trading at a premium over perp, but we're getting a little bit closer together, which, you know, goes with that open interest kind of moving to the downside as we are moving to the upside, and you're starting to see more leverage coming into the market. And it just... Nope, it's still being spot driven right now. So let's go ahead and bring up our Chart Prime Oscillator Pro Plus. Guys, check out Chart Prime, link in the description. Get 45% off your first month. Comes with classes, trading classes, Chart Prime classes, hosted by not yours truly, but hosted by the OC guy and Alex O Crypto. So shout out to the Otter Gang and Mr. Mexican Spaghetti. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. So we have had 5 straight weeks of green candles, something that we have not had since Q4 2023. So should we expect a cool off? Potentially. Or should we expect just a God candle on the monthly and just continue higher? Honestly, I'm not sure. But I am sitting here and I am watching this pretty much a breakaway gap, but we might come back down into it here on the daily chart. Let's go ahead and bring up that rectangle with the midline. So the midline on that is about $100,000. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all to come down here, retest this 786 at 101,881. We do have that 101,300 level also, but that also falls within this daily fair value gap. So let's not be surprised if we do get a little bit of cool off going into that daily fair value gap. We do have a little bit of an imbalance down here at about that $100,300. Well, that's not 101. Where's the 101,300? 101,300 is essentially the midpoint of this little consolidation range in here. And just below that, right here, I got a nice little imbalance here on the 15-minute. Not sure that we will revisit that. Let's go down to the 4-hour, see. Okay, so we do have a nice breakaway gap here on the 4-hour as well. So we'll see if we can come down here into this level. Let's go ahead and pull a Fibonacci from low to high and see. We do have a 50% retracement from this low to this high, sitting right there at that $100,429 mark. And yeah, I think that's going to be the one to watch right there. Potentially pull a fixed range volume profile on this level. And yeah, right there is that little divot between these two. So it does lose that 101,300. I would want this level to hold. But at the very least, I want to see this 97,479 hold, that value area low. Let's make sure that this holds and then continue higher. Now, we could just go ahead and continue higher. I mean, sitting here on the 4-hour, we do have our money flow in the green, our trend fusion still hovering above the 0 line, and our true 7 is sitting just below here, just below the 0 line. It almost looks like it's flat, but thick green volume matrix, which is good. The power bar is kind of fading on the bullish side. We do have a couple of reversal indicators, but these do tend to come prior to the up move before the rejection back down to the downside. Now, I'm still anticipating an ABC correction. So after this 5-wave impulse to the upside, so we'll see if we do indeed get it. But we might just see something like this before we just continue higher. We might be going parabolic for all I know. We shall see. But let's go ahead and bring up the Market Oracle Pro Plus. On the 4-hour, we are still sitting on green candles on top of a green dynamic reactor. On the daily, we have also flipped that daily green back here, but we have maintained it, and we are actually on day 5 of green candles. So anytime this thing tends to flip green above the dynamic reactor, we do get some big moves. Not every single time. We flipped green here and then we came back, but we didn't hold the dynamic reactor. Now if we hold the dynamic reactor and push higher, then that's what we want to see. And if we flip red while we are above the green dynamic reactor and then flip green again, we want to be extra cautious. We want to wait for the pullback to the dynamic reactor. But if it falls through like it did here and candles turn red, that's an early signal. Well, this is actually the early signal that we are more of in a consolidation before we can move back to the upside. Now, if you are already in a consolidation range, and then you finally break above that consolidation range and hold that dynamic reactor, then, well, in this instance, you'd have to wait for the pullback to the dynamic reactor and then go long, which you would have made some killer gains right there on that. We also had the dynamic or the money flow moving to the upside, the trend fusion pushed to the upside pretty hard. Our volume matrix was very nice and green. Our power bars was nice and green. Even though we were getting tons and tons of reversal signals, the chart was absolutely defying them. And then once we got the pullback, we got a little bit of dip into the red money flow, and then we pushed up into the green money flow, pullback, and then continued higher. Let's see. Now, so that is Bitcoin, just mostly wanting to see if we can hold this level here. Because we do have that dynamic reactor sitting below us, we want to be that far below us anyway. We want to be cautious. Let's go down to the 12-hour, still sitting below us. Let's see if there's let's see what the closest dynamic reactor is. I know it's not going to be on the 4-hour. Let's take a look at the 1-hour. See what the dynamic reactor is showing here. We do have the dynamic reactor just above that level here, and we could see another move just like this, where we come down and we break below the dynamic reactor, come down, break below the dynamic reactor before we ultimately push back to the upside. The dynamic reactor would turn red right here, and then once you push back above it, turn back to green. So let's so that could be exactly what we see. We also get a hidden bullish divergence in here between the oscillator and the price that led to the move to the upside. Now, this is shaping up to be potentially a Bart Simpson pattern, so just be aware. I think we might start the week off, at least start the week off a little, start Monday off to the downside. But then if that is the case, we start Monday off to the downside, and let's say we create some equal lows down in here, then I would expect Tuesday to open up, come down, sweep the equal lows, and then this is all on lower time frames, and then push to the upside. So that's what I'll be looking for, is just wait for Monday price action to develop, let the market show its hand, let it show us what it's trying to do, and then we'll go from there. Then we can go to the VWAP. We can turn on not the session, but the weekly. And then once that starts to form, we can get a better gauge of what the weekly VWAP is looking like. You can also use the anchored VWAP. Let's take from last Wednesday at 2 p.m. from the time of the FOMC, you can see that the VWAP has been pushing to the upside, but it does sit right there, right around that dynamic reactor level. So coming back down to test that VWAP would not be surprising, and actually would be welcome. So in order to get along now, taking a look at the Dixie real quick, the Dixie is back above 100. Let's zoom this one way out. All right, so we did get this break here, got a break and then a back test, and still red candles, so still bearish, but I am still watching this level right here between these red lines, between this low and this candle low. Got a little bit of an imbalance in here, so I'm curious to see what the Dixie does coming into tomorrow, as does push towards that overbought zone, even though we are still in our red candles and coming up to potential resistance. We do have the dynamic reactor above us as well. Let's go ahead and turn on our spaceman. Let's see. The previous quarter low sits above us. Our previous month midpoint is going to be our next area of interest, our next key level. I did not bring that up on the here we go. So we got the previous week midpoint sitting right here at about $99,200. So that will be an area of interest for me. We'll see how that goes. But we have the current previous daily low sitting at 100,360. Is that right? $103,360. So potentially could just see a sweep of that and then move to the upside. But let's just not get ahead of ourselves. I want to see us get into that fair value gap at the very least, and then see what we do from there. So, but the Dixie still looking pretty bearish. The Euro kind of looking bearish as well, but it is getting some nice stair stepping in here. So that might continue to climb, and it is getting a bullish reversal signal at the imbalance here in the chart. So could see that Euro continue to the upside, which would do nothing more than push the Dixie to the downside. Bitcoin dominance, another big component of stuff. What I want to see. Let's go ahead and turn off the market dynamics or market Oracle Pro Plus. We have been pushing to the downside on our Bitcoin dominance. Big moves to the downside for the Bitcoin dominance, but it could be, now it looks like we've got a little bit of a bearish consolidation before continuation to the downside, potentially. But that would mean more power for the alts. Let's go ahead and take a look at the total crypto market. Our total crypto market cap sits at about $3.28 trillion. We are sitting on top of this high over here. We have the previous weekly high above us, the previous daily high above us, the previous quarter high, all the way up here at $3.7 trillion. So let's get up to that level. But before we do, we might need to cool off. But we don't have any bearish divergences in here. We did put in a higher high on our oscillator, and our True 7 is showing some strength, although it could just also be showing maybe a cool off in here. It might be a cool off week. We do have this imbalance in here that we could trade away from, get into, and then trade away from. So that's the total crypto market. But I'm looking over here at the altcoin market. Let's go ahead and turn off the spaceman so we can see a little better. We did get above this high, which was good. They closed the week above it with conviction. Nice strong push. So potentially a pull back to that level at $1.1 trillion for the altcoin market. This is everything excluding Bitcoin. So this does include Ethereum. But yeah, we've got the first big break out of this range in here. So excellent. That's what we want to see. Now we want to break the bigger upwards resistance level here at about $1.3 trillion. We'll just call it that. But yeah, not really seeing too much over here to be bearish about. In fact, it's just showing more strength than anything else. Total 3, more strength than weakness, I should say. Pretty much the same. Broke out of consolidation, broke above an internal high, putting in higher lows and higher highs, looking to put in another high low, and then continuing to move to the upside. So we're either going to continue to look very strong this week, or we get a little bit of downside to consolidate and cool off. Not really sure at the moment which way we are going to go. I usually wait for Monday to play out, but I do think in general, overall, we'll be seeing some bullish price action, but it might not be Bitcoin or crypto's turn this week. It might be the major stock indices. Our S&P 500 has not yet met upside target of 5,837 points, so I would like to see it meet that upside target this week. And the NASDAQ, it has met its upside target, trying to push even higher towards that 0.114 that I'm looking at. That's at 21,064 points on the NASDAQ. Let's go ahead and drop down to the lower time frames, go down to the 5-minute. We can see we did get a gap up to start the week on the NASDAQ. On the S&P also got a gap up, so that could help be what pushes Bitcoin down is coming down to fill that gap on the indices, and the Dow Jones also seeing the gap to the upside. So we want to be cautious here, and we are in the overbought territory. We're getting overbought signal in here, and our True 7 is clipping. So we do want to be careful. Started off with a big push, and then have since just started consolidating. So this could come down to fill the gap before ultimately pushing back to the upside. Let's go to the 1 hour. Yeah, this is still looking pretty decent in here with some higher lows and higher highs. So we want to see more upside here for the NASDAQ, and it needs to get up to that upper level as well at about 43,302 points. Break that, and Bitcoin will look even more likely to be heading its way towards a new all-time high. Our USDT dominance continues to push to the downside, which is bullish because that is showing capital leaving the USDT and being put into risk assets, aka our digital assets, our crypto. So this is a positive sign, potentially bottoming out in here, but that could just be short-term relief to get in and fill this this imbalance in here, right here at this fair value gap, before ultimately rolling over and pushing even lower. So we have, with our Bitcoin dominance pushing lower, our USDT dominance generally pushing lower as well, and with Bitcoin going sideways and altcoins catching up to Bitcoin, those are all recipe for strength and more upside for the market, the broad market in general. Our Russell 2000 showing a little more strength as well. So these are your small market cap companies, stocks. This pushing to the upside is signaling that we are potentially seeing a little bit more risk on in our traditional stocks, our traditional market, our legacy market. If they are being a little bit more risky, then that also benefits us in the crypto market. Now, the Russell 2000 is still heavy in the red on its money flow on the daily chart, but it is coming up to that key level that it needs to, that I want to see it break at 2,110 points. I need to see that break, retest, and then continuation, which I do think it's going to do. We have a bunch of equal highs up here that I do think we need to come and clear. So that's what I'm looking for on the Russell 2000. I'm looking for the indices to really start to push up and take out those key levels, and for Bitcoin maybe to go sideways, and for altcoins to continue to push. Taking a look at Ethereum, speaking of altcoins, Ethereum's got a massive move like it usually does. It's been moving to the downside for months. It is finally showing some positive price action in here, potentially getting that 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 waves to the upside. We do see that money flow really starting to push heavier towards the upside, potentially getting really close to breaking that zero line, but our trend fusion has broken the zero line, and our power bar is heavy in the green. So Ethereum could just continue to push this week, so keep an eye on Ethereum. Ephraim. Now let's take a look at our crypto fear and greed index. Let's take a look at our fear and greed. Where are we sitting right now? We're sitting at a 69. Nice. Where that means we are in greed, which means we are showing strength. So that is the name of the game this week. We are showing some strength. Let's take a look at our 2 and 10 year. That's 20 years. That's 2 years sitting at about 3.91%, and our 10 sitting at 4.4. So we still have that's under a 50-point spread. So that's good. That means less likely seeing a recession at this point in time. But that doesn't mean we won't be seeing a recession later. I still think we see a recession later. Just think that this is, as I've been saying for a few months now, that this is likely our last hurrah, and that Bitcoin's going to go up. It's going to go parabolic and go crazy. Altcoins will also get a big pushes. I still think most altcoins, especially your large caps and your mid caps, 3 to 5x's with some outliers in 10x's. Your biggest gainers will probably be the most risky altcoins or meme coins, maybe some AI coins or just unknown coins. If you get into them early enough, you can catch some major waves, some really big gains. But outside of that, the least risky is going to be your top 100. You're going to get modest. I say modest. 3 to 5x is more than modest, but especially for like a spot bag. But yeah, what I like to do is I just try to diversify, get about 10 to 20 cryptos, and then when one doubles up, I take that one and I throw it into the biggest laggard, one that hasn't doubled up yet. If another one doubles up before that one, then I will take that double up and I will put it into the laggard, whatever's lagging the most. And I will just keep doing that over and over and over again, and then continuing to, if I have to, find more coins that are lagging behind, and then rotate my capital into those coins and only get a double up and then just get out. But I'll only, of course, I'm looking at the charts while I'm doing this. I want to make sure that the target on spot is at least a double up, at least a 100% move, which I do think pretty much every crypto will likely see from this point forward, is at least 100% move. So that is what I would expect from them. Now, yeah, so we're looking pretty good. We're getting a push up to start the week on the ES and the NASDAQ. Already up 1.44% on the SPY, up 1.94% on the NASDAQ, up 1.11% on the Dow Jones. Now, we still have these relatively equal lows sitting here at the lows here, which is kind of scary, and we have these relatively equal highs here at the highs. So, kind of caution, showing lots of caution. Really want to get a break above, get a back test on the lower time frames and hold, and then that would be a great time, in my opinion, to go long, and we can start pushing parabolically, just like gold. AUX USD. Nope, that's not it. XAU USD. There we go. Gold. Yeah, see, it just pushes and pushes and pushes and then consolidate and then push even more. So gold is still getting a nice big push to the upside. This is parabolic right here, man. This is what parabolic looks like. Gold is a prime example of what we are looking for parabolic movement. Now let's go ahead, let's take off everything. I want to take everything off. Let's go to the monthly chart, take a look, and just look at that thing. It's just straight up on the monthly chart, looking good too. And that money flow is about to break the zero line. The money flow hasn't even broken the zero line on gold yet, so that's pretty incredible. And this thing is just continuing to push to the upside. Now, if I'm a pattern trader, I'm looking at this like a cup and handle in here, coming in here. And then we have a measured move from the lid to the handle. And then right there, that gets you up to about $3,942. If we go ahead and pull a Fibonacci, we can see just above that is the 3.618 at $4,178. So we could potentially go even higher than this. But right now we got a monthly close. That's prior month. We got a monthly close in April below the 2.618, and if we go to the weekly, the weekly, we did get a close above, and then a close below, then a close back above. So gold just appears to be consolidating right now before potentially continuing its ascent to the upside. Let's take a look at IBIT, see what we're looking at here. Continuing to push to the upside. So spot ETF looking good. Now I really want to see BTC1 exclamation point. So our CME futures, see if we opened up with any gap. Go down to the 15-minute. That's going to double maybe. $5,000 maybe for gold. We'll see. Let's see. I don't really. Is this on electronic trading hours? Yep. Says go to the 5. So not really a big jump in price for Bitcoin on the CME. Let's see what kind of CME gaps we could have in here. There's that. Is that 100, 100, 101, 300? Where's that at? Right here. In here. We do have this CME gap down here at 91,970 to 92,525 that we could come back to fill, or we could just leave it behind to come back to later. But coming back down below these lows is in the cards, in my opinion, because that does match potentially if this is an ABC or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, then I expect an ABC coming in here soon, if not starting this week, where we get that ABC and push to the downside. Now, if we are to remain bullish, like I was saying earlier, then we would want to come down and then bounce off of this fair value gap. But if that's not what we get, then look for potential ABC. However it comes, sweep these lows, get into that imbalance in there, retest these highs, flip that to support, and then get the next big move to the upside. So that is my general thought on Bitcoin. If we are, I still think, I mean, we could continue to push higher, but I would prefer something like this that we can come down, grab some liquidity, go ahead and liquidate some longs, some late longs, and then from there push higher as everybody thinks we've just gone super bearish. Now, if we continue to get what retail believes to be very positive trade stuff, especially with China, then we might see them move to the downside and just continue to be super bullish and super strong. So, I mean, it's pretty much going to be, it looks like it's going to be off the backs of the China trade deal, potentially. But either way, I would prefer to see Bitcoin start to consolidate here at the highs before breaking to the upside and putting in an ABC while altcoins continue to gain against Bitcoin. That Bitcoin dominance continues to fall, and the USDT dominance continue to fall, as well as the Dixie. So yeah. And that's it. That is Macro Monday. Feel like I just went on a tear. Didn't really pay attention to chat. I hope you all had fun in the chat, but I felt like I had a lot to go over, so I went over it. And yeah, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it for this one. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and forgot to mention that at the top of the show, but it is what it is. Happy Mother's Day. Hope you all the mothers out there, had a great Mother's Day, and yeah. But besides that, hope you all had a great weekend. It was a pretty relaxing weekend for me. But you know, I did get to listen to the new Sleep Token album, so that was a lot of fun. I tried to listen to it on a stream, but they suspended my stream on my Lunar Beaches Crypto channel on the last song. Of course. Looking forward to Tariff Tuesday. There you go, Retro Mike Tech. Thank you for being here, Retro Mike. JR, thank you for being here as well. Thank you all for showing up and showing out. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, guys, with TA Tuesday. We'll go over super heavy charts. We'll see what kind of we'll just go over some technical analysis and do some education. And yeah, that's gonna be fun. We'll do that. And yeah, that'll be it. That's gonna be it, guys. Again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for all of your love and your support. I do appreciate each and every single last one of you. If you wouldn't mind smashing up that like button on the way out, hit that subscribe if you are new. Don't forget to check out our affiliates, Blowfin, NordVPN, and our sponsor, Chart Prime. So check that stuff out, and don't forget to be back tomorrow for Good Morning Crypto right here in the Piper Academy Network. That is with BC Port Corp at, I want to say, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then at 10, we'll have the morning market report with the Army, Piper, and OC guy. Then trading with OC at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then right back here for another episode of Markets After Dark, where we go mad on the charts. Absolutely love you guys. Don't forget to join the Discord. It's only $5. Link is pinned in the chat. If you're watching the playback, it's in the description. But anyways, guys, thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all tomorrow night. I hope you all have an amazing, beautiful, wonderful, radical sleep or rest of your day if you're across the pond. Mad love, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Peace out, and good night. Bye.
Welcome to the night where we light up the spark. We're trading crypto, finance, you'll be mad on the charts. Hosted by the one, Lunar Beaches top shark. Dive deep into the numbers, cause this ain't no lark. We're crunching all the data, making money moves fast. From Wall Street to the blockchain, making predictions last. Community together in this financial blast. Markets after dark, like shatter ceilings made of glass. Mad on the charts with Lunar's bright lights. Crypto markets soaring through the night. Follow the trends, see future in sight. It's markets after dark, the financial flight.
Thank you, Carla Chalmers, for joining the alumni. Mad love.
Stock tips and insights, secrets ready to unload. Trading strategies, sharp on knowledge be showed. Let Lunar Beaches guide you to the mother lode. Economic loops and the way the dollar flows. Community vibes where everybody grows. Analyzing trends while the world lays low. Markets after dark where only brilliant shows. Hit that subscribe and join the ride. In the world of finance where fortunes collide. Lunar's path will be your guide. Through the market storm or the market tide. Charts with Lunar's bright light. Crypto markets soaring through the night. From big tone markets soaring fast. Markets after dark, shatter ceilings made of glass. Mad on the charts with Lunar's bright light. Crypto markets soaring through the night. Follow the trends, see the future in sight. It's markets after dark, the financial flight. From Bitcoin to Ethereum, we're mapping the road. Stock tips and insights, secrets ready to unload. Trading strategies, sharp on knowledge be showed. Let Lunar Beaches guide you to the